What's up, fan bam? What's up, guys? It is Hump Day Wednesday. Hopefully you guys had a great start to the week, and I got to say it's been a quite intense and very interesting week, especially when it comes to PC hardware. GTA 6 leaks. We got Intel Nova Lake coming in. We got Zen 6 that is on its way. And is even a 50 Super Series really going to end up happening? So let's go ahead and get the show started. What's up, fan bam? What's up, guys? If you're unfamiliar with who I am, I'm Chris Mizo. Feel free to ask any questions you would like, especially when it comes to PC and tech. As you know, and as we have mentioned for quite a bit, it's no surprise NVIDIA and AMD has been rising up prices. We're going to see AMD pretty much pushing up past the 800 point as the minimum, and same thing with NVIDIA as we're seeing the 5070 even pushing past 900. What's up, Rad? What's up, 008 Agent? How much is the increase? So right now, currently it's about 10 to 15%. And for those who are curious about Zen 6, Zen 6 is going to be the next generation for when it comes to AMD's platform, not for AM5 boards. You still can use AM5 boards, so even up to Zen 7, but Zen 6 will be the next step up away from Zen 5, such as the 9000 series processors. They haven't really come up with a name just quite yet. More than likely, it might be the Ryzen 10,000 series, so it might be like the 10,800 series or 10800, or however they would like to call it when they go to the X3Ds. More than likely, I do see that they are going to end up using dual CCD when it comes to V cache as well, so you're going to expect it more to be similar towards the line of like the 9950 X3D2, as that was the whole reason for that whole experimentation. So no, if you got the 9950 X3D2, to be honest, that's kind of like a peak of what Zen 6 more than likely will be. Of course, when it comes to the, say, 10800 X3D, it's definitely going to be a cheaper version of what it is, but also going to be more expensive than what the 9800 X3D does offer. I would expect the pricing to be up as high, like maybe around like $600 for something like a 10800 X3D, but just don't quote me on that. More than likely, I can see it, especially if they end up going dual V cache. You never got the notification. Oh, thank you for letting me know. Yeah, I wonder what's up with that. I know, you know what? You just reminded me of something, and I completely forgot to hit that switch. I think in fact, you just reminded me, there was something I was supposed to hit, but of course, there we go. Of course, the streaming went ahead and got started here. So let's go ahead and we can go into the browser side. We can take a look at Micro Center if you guys want to take a look. I can also brief over the whole GTA 6 leaks because I think that is quite interesting. Many people feel quite underwhelmed as they are claiming that this is based on 2023 graphics. I haven't really gotten too deep. I actually been quite busy with the PC shops for this week. So it's been quite a busy week. I've been trying to also film at the same time, trying to push out the same high quality content as I always do. And there's actually going to be a couple, there's going to be a rebuild, and there's also going to be a build coming up soon. So make sure to keep your eyes peeled for those videos. So Steve says, I upgraded my rig with cable extensions for 20 bucks for white. That's not bad at all. I mean, which did you end up opting in with? So hopefully my setup of the 9950 X3D 250, oh, absolutely. If you're using it for gaming, that's like overkill. But there's nothing wrong with it. No matter what game you open, the whole dual V cache does eliminate the problem with using the wrong CCD, which was a real common issue when it came to it. I mean, with Battlefield 6, it would constantly, like for me, it would open up on CCD 1 when it should open on CCD 0, which is where the V cache was. And hopefully they do figure out the problem more on the software development side and game development side when it comes to the 3D Vcache, instead of just relying on having dual Vcache, because again, it's expensive for everybody. So I can't comment on your videos And the last video I cannot watch until really? That's really weird. I wonder why. Huh. You can't comment on my videos. Can you try to comment again? Just out of curiosity, just comment on anything. That's so weird. I gotta double check. It sounds like YouTube's acting a little bit crazy. I did notice it's been acting weird for the past week, so please feel free and please comment. If you're having any YouTube issues on my channel, feel free to let me know. Please join in on Discord. Please join in on X just in case for any purposes. Of course, on Twitch as well. Yeah, pretty much all the platforms that's other than YouTube as well. So just to keep as a backup. So giving up on waiting on the 5080 Super, but what are your thoughts of the ASUS ROG 5080? That's an awesome GPU, I think. Having 4 extra fans are really nice, but is it worth 2200 is the real question. So I'm going to go over here to the browser side so I can share with you what I personally do think of it. Let's see. So, okay, we're in the YouTube studio now, so we're just going to go over to Micro Center. Okay, so we're going to go into Micro Center and take a look here and see what we can personally find. Maybe we can find something decent. Maybe we can actually find the RTX 5080 Astral. So some of you or some of you may not know exactly how much it is. Actually went down slightly. I mean, it was originally $2,200. I guess they realized that was a bit too much, so they dropped it down just $100. And personally, to me, I still think it's a very expensive card, especially for RTX 5080. I highly suggest looking at the differences between the 5070 Ti and the 5080 if you are looking to actually make the purchase or on the fence of a GPU. Reason being is because the benchmarks are not going to be that far apart, especially if you're gaming in 1440. If you're gaming in 4K, be quite different. So 5800 XTD, yes, it absolutely is. How long have you had it, Tony? Really? So it's all of you guys. Maybe it's YouTube. I put 2 comments today on the last video and it only posted. What? That's so weird. Man, I gotta look at that. I'm definitely going to bring that up then. The only issue I see with the 9950 X3D2 versus the 9800 X3D2 is cooling. It takes very best cooling option in order for the 9950 X3D2 without throttle under a 16-core load. I do agree, it does get quite a bit warmer. That's something that you certainly have to get used to. But it's almost like when it comes to new tech too, it's almost like you're almost immune to seeing higher temperatures because you're like, oh, this is part of new tech. It requires more power to get more power. And unfortunately, that's the case. Waffle Skater, yes, 5090 pricing. It's insane. 5080 is a tinfoil. I do. Hey man, I agree with you there. It should definitely not be that far apart from a it should not be that far apart away from a 5070 Ti. Let me just show you. If we look at a 5070 Ti, man. And the 5070 is pretty much the same card as the 5070 Ti. It just has less VRAM practically. Let's find the lowest price. So practically, you can get a Zotac NVIDIA GeForce RTX 5070 Ti for $959. I mean, come on, man. That's just insane. You can actually get a much cheaper, and that just kind of tells you, is it really worth spending over $1,000 more for a GPU, which isn't that far from benchmark. I mean, it's like roughly like benching the two. It's probably like a 15% difference, if that. So good news, I'm officially retired. I can do whatever I want to at the age 60 and go all over the world. Awesome. Enjoy the world. There's definitely a lot to see. Enjoy every culture you can. I'm glad you're able to do that. And congratulations on your retirement. Enjoy it. There's so much to do in life. There really is. And especially if you're into food, if you're like a food guru, there's so much great food out there. So at 730, it will be worth a 5060 Ti. Yeah, 5060 Ti is pretty much tied at the pricing when it comes to 5070. If you look at the 5060 Ti, guys, and also, warning to everybody already in Florida, tomorrow's the last day. If you choose to go ahead and take advantage of those deals about the whole tax-free for the back to school. After tomorrow, all pricing will go back to normal when it goes to electronics. So you're going to have to pay tax, unfortunately, after tomorrow. So keep your eyes out if you are in the Florida area. So 3 times mark up the sound about right. Holy, yes, expensive, right? I mean, look at this. Like a 5060, I throw so much shade already on the 5060 Ti as it is. It should not be priced this much. Nowhere near. It makes no sense. It's $809.99 for a 5060 Ti. I would not recommend. I still don't recommend this card. Sure, some people recommend it, but I don't think its value is not there. It's not an $800 card. Yeah, no problem. What the F? At least put some. Yes. Yeah, I should, right? It's a warning. Oh, wait. Oh, my fault, guys. There's the social chat. Completely forgot to turn that on for you guys. I apologize for that. Almost missed the stream. Good thing YouTube autoplay switched me over to the right channel. Awesome. At least YouTube did something right. I'm glad that Anellis got brought in. My profile picture is Ada Wong. Yeah. Yeah, they're supposed to be doing an. I heard that Resident Evil that they're going to go ahead and start doing like some more remakes. Like that's probably the line that they are going in. So, do you think it would be better buying a last gen Haya? Yeah, if you can, if you already have it. It wouldn't make sense to upgrade if you don't have to. I'm glad Hidden pretty much already brought up that point. Great news, Hidden. We got more. We ended up getting some people interested in some PCs, so that's a positive sign. Hopefully it continues. And I've been doing like pretty much like your idea on just like I haven't did the whole rent to buy type of thing, but more, I guess it's probably similar in a sense, but more of the leasing options. I feel like it's a great option. And I really thought about it. I feel like it's, in today's world, I feel like it's definitely a much more affordable option for most people to be able to purchase a PC instead of the pricing that we have today. I mean, we look at some of the hardware. I mean, this 5060 Ti alone is $809, which makes no sense. Absolutely no sense. And hopefully the world will continue rebelling against gaming on the cloud, which I think we all absolutely hate. What's up, Dark Style? Halloween, yes. I'm looking forward to some of these upcoming games. I actually look forward to the Saw titles because I like a lot of those games where they're multiplayer, as long as if you can play with a good group of people, and then be able to try to get through something like the Saw game. But I heard the developer isn't that great, but I could be wrong. And pretty soon I'll definitely start streaming more games. I just ended up a lot more busy on the PC shop side. Difference between 5080 Astro Aorus Master versus the ROG Astral. Remember, the Aorus Master comes with the additional fan. Yes, it does come with the additional fan. But the only really two difference is going to be like probably the overclocking. The overclocking is a little bit better on the ROG Astral. It's definitely one of the better cards out there, but it is more expensive. The Aorus Master does also contain a screen, which the ROG Astral does not contain the screen. And it does also give you a indication of how much voltage is going through the pins as well. So that is a positive on it as well. Micro Center Power Spec PC. Yeah, people are looking at these options. It's funny. My friend actually brought that up, and we actually discussed that. But I will definitely go to that. In fact, let me bring up that chat so that way I can actually click it so we can show the chat. All right, so let's go ahead here and look at Power Spec 9800 X3D BA50. That's not bad. 1764 gigabytes of DDR5. That's actually quite amazing. But the GPU is wait, where's the this doesn't have a GPU contained in it. It's decent, very decent because of the RAM, but there's no GPU. You're practically using the integrated graphics on the 9800 X3D. So if you are looking at a PC like this, just make sure you have a GPU, and it's pretty clear there's no dedicated GPU in this because it would be right there. So yes, so it's based on an iGPU. I've heard the Ors Master has the same overclock. Yes, but when it comes to the actual overclocking and benchmarking, I can say the not Ors Master, the Astral is certainly better. Is the board on components any better on those expensive GPUs? Not really the board itself, but it's more or so when it comes to the. Sometimes they will try to touch up the design, just like how Asus does when it comes to like the equalizer and everything. When it comes to certain soldering points, they do focus on that, so it can be a bit better and a bit more improved. And compared to some other manufacturers where instead they just kind of slap on fans. So sometimes they do modify it, and hence why the cost can go up quite a bit. So yeah, but still awesome choice. I'm still currently spending my PC now. Just need only help on the GPU. Oh, okay, okay. But so which GPU are you thinking of? I'll pair it with the RX 580. Hey, anything works, man. The 580 is still a great GPU, actually. I would never buy that motherboard. Looks cheap. The motherboard's probably a Pro. I'm assuming MSI Pro or Prime. Yeah, pretty much close. Pretty much similar line. It's the lower line, of course, when it comes to their boards. It is the Asus Prime. Of course, it doesn't have all the extra features that some do have. It almost looks like the gaming Wi-Fi boards as well from Asus. But it's a decent board to kind of get started. But definitely not obviously the top of the line motherboard that will go with the build. But then again, it's only $1,700 for this build. Only difference is the cooling solution and controllers on the boards. Mostly just hype and cost. And I'm in need for something for flight sim. 4K Ultra settings with heavy add-ons. Not sure if it 4K Ultra. That's going to definitely be testing your 5070 Ti. If that's the case, how many displays are you actually using for the 5070 Ti? Because that will certainly determine how much firepower you would actually need in your PC. At this point, I feel like the best option for the GPU is the 9070. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. If you are in need of a GPU, I keep recommending this GPU to everyone. And it seems that more and more people are willing to experiment now. Maybe it has to do with cost, maybe because GPUs are much more expensive, especially when it comes to NVIDIA. But I mean, you look at the cost, you could get a Power Color RX 9070 XT Reaper for $729. You can get the ASRock AMD RX 9070 XT for $740. Let me see. They even the 9060 XT is not a bad card as long as if you're gaming into like something like 1080p. So they're all great kits that actually not kits, but all great GPUs that actually start off with your PC. And not everything has been priced out quite tremendously yet. The pricing has been adjusted quite a bit, but not completely. In fact, we could go to the lowest price and we could look at, say, like a 9070 XT to get a good idea of get a decent idea of how the market is certainly pricing out the 9070 XTs. So the cheapest 9070 XT you could get is about $730. So there has been quite an adjustment there, but not enough to push it over 800 just quite yet. What's up, Havy? Good morning. Great to see you. Over to and single 4K. Okay, so single 4K you'll be pretty decent. It's definitely going to require more optimizations more than anything. So Dark Style says overall between 2 to 7% improvements based on cooling performance. The rest is just looks. Does buying a more expensive motherboard means better longevity? I'm on a ROG X870E e-gaming, I'm assuming, compared to a Gigabyte X870. Well, the Gigabyte X870 boards are great. The X870E e-gaming boards from Asus are also awesome boards. It just depends on the type of usage that you're truly using it for. Expensive boards are typically built a bit better. They have more layers on the PCB. They have better VRMs. They also have better options when it comes to USB options and when it comes to audio. Same thing even when it comes to networking as well. Most of them will have dual Ethernet ports. You'll have one that will be based on 5 gigabits on the X870E, and the other port will be probably more than likely 1 gigabit. So you do have a bit more options, more flexibility when you do have a better board like the X870s. So I would say if you compared it to a just standard Gigabyte X870, you'll definitely have more features over it. But it doesn't necessarily, but and the durability is a bit better because of a thicker PCB board. But it doesn't mean that it's going, you have a higher chance of outlasting it. But it does help in a sense. But it's more or so, I'd say, for the overclocking portion when it comes to VRMs and usage. That's where it truly matters, and especially if that's where your focus is. So 5070 Ti would need some tweaks to get it running to 60 FPS. 5080 is a big step up. You have you have, can't read it, to draw the line. There we go. Happy with the 9070 XT Nitro. Yeah, it's one of my favorite GPUs. I constantly look for it. If you can get it for a great deal, definitely go for it. Definitely reach out and see if you get a Sapphire Nitro, one of my higher recommended 9070 XTs. It's a beautiful design. Especially, I love the thought process of just how they hide the wire within the sheath, and I look forward to upcoming designs when it comes to Sapphire. What I'm surprised I haven't got to do just quite yet, in fact, is it just made me think back when it came to the Sapphire motherboards. And I feel so bad because I feel like this is a bad market for them to enter, and because of it, I'm afraid that it affect them in the upcoming future when it comes to say Zen 6 and Zen 7, or when it comes to the next generation of when it comes to Nova Lake. And if Sapphire will continue to produce, but because of, again, these conditions, it's going to be rough for any company to continue producing PC hardware. So I've been using both the 9060 XT 16 gigabytes and the 9070 XT. So how do you feel the difference between the two? I'm assuming the 9060 XT you're using it for more of the 1080 side. So I'm a motherboard tramp. I love good looking motherboards. They always get me on that. Absolutely. So what's the purpose of a motherboard with two Ethernet? So like, for example, if you want to be able to transfer information, um, if you want to be able to transfer information over, uh, if you want to transfer information over to the like to your PC, like it's great to transfer information like your local drive. If you want to transfer videos, you want to transfer files, you want to transfer games. That's what's great about having the dual Ethernet port. You can use it for a local for your local disk, so to say, or your local network. So it's great for that. It's more of like a landline, so to say, meaning that you can connect to another PC. So look for more boards with more radiators over VRMs. Ones that don't cheap out on cooling normally have premium components as well, but that's not a given. So thanks, guys. I'm thinking Asus are. Hey, I recommend that board. That's actually one of my more recommended boards. I go AMD for Linux. Yes, if you're going Linux, go AMD. It's the smartest choice. There's nothing wrong with NVIDIA. It's just that you have much more. It's like set. AMD is already set as it is for Linux, and I don't know if you guys heard. I did mention some news a bit earlier, especially with the new Linux 7.2. With when it comes to the kernels, is that you're able to go and use HDMI 2.1. So if you're looking to take advantage of that, you absolutely can, especially if you have a 9070 XT. So um, I like Nitros for the small form factor builds, but Yeston's Q per edition takes a cake. Yeah, cute pet. I gotcha. I always look at it. I feel like it's such an interesting design. I mean, take a look at the Sakura and Atlantis. It's just a very interesting design. It definitely sticks out. I love the creativity. I wish we see more of this. I hope more brands get a little bit more bold. I know a lot of people certainly get tired of just seeing something like that is like pretty much like gray or black, because that's all we mostly see now is gray or black or white even. Um, but I love to see more innovation and more originality. Even this power color Hellbound is pretty dope too. I love how it looks. So I buy the Sapphire Mother. Absolutely, why not? Only pain is when Nitro is unlocked with the RGB to sync with the rest. It looks like Waffle Skater stressing out over there. I use cheap motherboards 90 to 130, and they do well. They can. I thought it was to talk to. Ah, yes, yes, yes. The wonderful hotline of PCs. You can either use two Ethernet ports of separate networks, or if you're really fancy, set up link aggregation. That's also a great idea too. If you can do link aggregation, you can. That actually will increase, like it's supposed to increase your speeds on its weak points. So RG is excellent high tier board. I'm on the Asus Pro RX 870 myself. In February, they're about evens in terms of quality. So Shrimp says, hello, I want to do and ask a 590, 9600X and a 7700. Yeah, absolutely. Still very relevant to this day. The 9600X is one I definitely do recommend, especially if you're a bit more onto the budgets. Still performs great, especially if you're into, even if you're into doing like media editing and you're looking for something a little bit cheaper. 9600X is a great option. 7700 XT, also a great choice. Reason being is because you still have FSR4. Now, it may not be as good as FSR4 when it comes to the AMD 9000 series, but specifically what I mean is the Radeon 9000 series. I know that can be a little confusing with Ryzen Radeon, but anyway, when it comes to the Radeon 9000 series, it's a little bit different in that sense, but still, they have FSR4 available for the 7000 series, and I think the combination that you have is actually pretty decent. So, yes, I did test it into gaming. I haven't, I streamed with it a little bit. I've streamed with it a little bit. We can actually still continue doing different things. I still want to run more tests on the 9070 XTs. And in fact, this upcoming build that we're going to do is going to be quite interesting. I think you guys will certainly be entertained. Again, we got a PC rebuild on its way. We're completely revamping this PC. And it's going to look completely different than what it originally looked like. I can't wait to share that with you. Of course, the fun part is the editing. Got so much film to sort through. And the same thing with another PC we're putting together. In fact, I got all half of this studio is filled with PC hardware. So I got a lot to sort out here. So I've been on Asus motherboard exclusively for 30 years. They never let me down, never had a reason to switch. So exactly. I mean, Asus is definitely one of the better brands to trust, especially if you're building a PC. And as I mentioned, I've only had one serious issue when it came to Asus, and that was specifically during the Z690. But other than that, I've never had any really not much trouble at all when it came to Asus. So I think I paid about 650 for my Nitro about a year ago. So the Sakura Atlantis is mid. What did they do with the 7900 XT that they called Sakura Sugar? Let me see. I'm pretty sure that one's not around. I get what you think. In fact, they still, yes, it has like so many different different concepts, I gotta say. So when I took a look at the GTA 6 leaks, I was kind of like, you know what, Tony? Let's talk about it. I'm gonna put a vote for everybody here, so that way I can know what you guys think and figure out what type of subject that we will move on to, because I am curious if you guys want to get into that. I would love to know your idea. So I'm going to throw up the poll up here, and in order to vote, guys, you just have to put 1 or 2. Now, the question's going to be, would you guys want to talk about the GTA 6 leaks? Out of curiosity, because I know this is more of a PC centric live stream. If you would, feel free to let me know. Would love to hear your thoughts if you do want to talk about it. So do you want to talk about GTA 6 leaks? Oop. There we go. And I'll enable the poll, and you let me know what you guys think. So if you want to talk about the GTA 6 leaks, feel free. You can vote 1 or 2. So Bob Parkinson said, I heard the GTA 6 were based off of a build from... Okay, so Tony definitely does. So yes, that's what I've been hearing too. It's even 3 years ago, because they're saying 2023. In fact, let's go into... I do actually have it up on X over here. So I posted one of them actually, and it is actually okay. Rockstar is probably gonna tune in. I won't show it, but you have an idea. I just wanted to share with what it looked like, and of course my reaction to this. And I know they can't really get upset at this. Was more of this because uh, if that's the leak and that's the best Rockstar has, it certainly makes me it certainly makes me feel like this game is an absolute joke than what people thought. I mean, it was hyped up to the point where they truly thought this was going to be the best. Like, I mean, you heard so many crazy different theories. You heard that you can actually end up you could you could that you heard that you can actually make money on this game and actually use it in real life. The league, it was just getting insane when it came to the rumors here. So, as expected for consoles, in my opinion. Yes. I'm I'm old. I rather ETS. Which do you think would look better? Keep it at their own engine or use Unreal Engine 6? Now, that's very difficult for them because you're talking about putting Unreal Engine 6 on a PS5 with that's practically equivalent to a 6800 XT. Um, and with a barely a processor that's not going to push as hard. You're talking about a processor that's like a low budget processor in the PS5. So if they go Unreal Engine 5, I mean 6 even, it's not going to run very well. Oh yeah. Yes, yes. Definitely would watch for that. I'm fine with talking about leaks, but be careful showing them. I get it. I get it. Thank you for letting me know. Hey, I usually don't talk about Rockstar leaks like that, but I think it's certainly definitely the hype of everything. I mean, it's leaked pretty much everywhere. I'm pretty sure every outlet has had their own versions of the leak. But I can say, like, when it comes to Rockstar, I think a lot of people um, expect it to look pretty much flawless. I think people expected it to look like this game, this amazing game where it's going to look so realistic and it's going to run in 4K and run at 60 frames per second with no issue. That the true power or the true exactly the true power of a PS5, even the PS5 Pro isn't truly hasn't shown it, just not quite yet. And but this if this holds true, this just gives you an indication that the current generation, when it comes to consoles, is unfortunately unpowered. And yes, they did waste a lot of times producing games that were remakes or games that were not really that great. And yes, I do agree it's one of the worst times, the worst generations when it comes to gaming because not really much was truly produced for this generation. I mean, the last game I played was Final Fantasy 16 when it first released on PS5, and that was the last time I touched PS5. And the only reason why I still have that is for GTA 6. But this kind of proves the point that, and Sony does as well, proves the point that they made me lose much more interest in this console. In fact, it makes me want to just put it up somewhere like the marketplace because it's just terrible. I mean, you see that game, and if that's truly what they are going to produce, which we're going to find out within the next week, and hopefully most of you guys have Netflix, otherwise you're going to see Netflix on the leaks because it's definitely going to show before YouTube does. So, still playing Silent Hill 2 remake. I got the Key of Sorrow. Oh, nice, nice, awesome. I hope hopefully it goes all well. That's why we need, absolutely, we do. The rumors are that the leaked build is using the updated. Really, you know what I heard about the whole Red Dead Redemption 2 engine is that the reason why they didn't use it was because the GTA was going to be much more sophisticated and advanced, so they didn't touch the Red Dead Redemption engine because of it. They tried it and they said it just can't work within the game, but if that is true, it kind of makes sense because it does seem like a last gen game the way it looks, which isn't good on Rockstar's part. And hopefully, that's not the case for them. If that is, uh, that's gonna end up getting a lot of negative feedback, if anything. So It took them that long to yes, absolutely. It took them that long to pretty much, disappoint everyone. But it does look a lot like that game, right, Samuel? I think it's called Samuel. What the hell is that game called, guys? Or is it called Simon? The one the one game where the guy's running around with long hair and he's like he's supposed to be a cop and he's like he's running around, you could kick in doors. In fact, it got like bad reviews, but some people loved it because it was just a fun game to play. It reminds me of that game. So, one says at the end of the day, Rockstar has to cook with water like everyone else. I bet the animations will be outstanding. That put aside, I'm not hyped for the visuals. Um, I do believe it's certainly going to look a bit better than what we see. I think it's a little bit over exaggerated when it comes to the underperforming graphics. But again, I do not expect miracles. I do expect this is just going to be, I hate to say it, this is just like any other game. But of course, it is what sells it is the story. It's the game. It's not the game. It's really the story and really uh how in depth you can get into something like GTA 6. But I think there's only so much you can do, especially that you're trying to beat out GTA 5, which was a wonderful game as well. Z-Man, uh, I wish I had great news about GPU prices going down. So, what GPU do you think the leaker was using? So, my guess, the type of GPU that they were using, that you have to be using. I don't think he was honestly truly using a GPU as much. More than likely, the GPU was going to be based off of something like a probably 7,000. I'm assuming 7,000 series. That's what I would think. And this is AMD's RX 7000 series. So they would put the LSS5 filter on it. They would, but the problem is they can't. Not on AMD system. They're going to have to be forced to put FSR 4, if anything. But unfortunately, PS5 they have PSR, so they can use PSSR 2. That's why it's enhanced for PS5 Pro, but it's still not going to be that great in my opinion. 9070 XT, absolutely. 9070 XT is the best way to go if you truly need a GPU. It's not as costly. Um, are the specs for PS6? No, unfortunately not. They were supposed to release some more information about that. What's up, Ernesto? Great to see you. They were supposed to release more information on that, but unfortunately, that's not the case. They didn't. They seem to be holding just as much as NVIDIA is holding to make the next generation GPU. I think this is going to be one of the longest generations that we're going to have to sit through. And it's quite amazing, I gotta say. It just doesn't feel that long ago that the 50 series came out, but honestly, we're almost headed into over. It's been over what 20. It was released in 24, and you're talking that it may hit the 3 year mark soon already. So time certainly does go by quick. And we're going to. I'm really curious to see what they show at CES. It's almost and it's mind-boggling because you're not sure how much they can show what they have with hardware that's really already exists. Now you can have different variations, but there's so many variations, and I guarantee you this is definitely going to be one of the generations where there's going to be just one of the most different variations of a 50 series card and any other type of and anything else when it comes to say AMD as well because or Intel because they have to. They don't have a choice. Already felt, yeah, yeah, exactly. And it doesn't feel like that long ago, right? I know it's like because think about it, it's like about to be 27. Actually, it'll be in 2 years. It got released in 25. Everybody was, yeah, you know what? It's about 2 years ago. So if that's the case, Nvidia said that they were thinking of not really touching doing a new generation just quite yet until 2028. So that would be 4 years if that's the case instead of five that I was originally thinking. So yeah, you're correct, Tony. It did come out 25. That just reminded me because I just had to think about it for a second too because we ended up getting some of the 50 series cards early last year. And then yeah, it would be roughly like about almost the it's almost 2-year mark it would be. So I can't go console. I need my freedom. I get my games. What I can't be nailed down to one platform. Absolutely, you have a lot more flexibility, and you have so much more you can do, especially if it's work specific. Just say, especially when it comes to if you're doing some sort of video editing, or if you're a photographer where you need something like Photoshop or Lightroom, or you need to, or you're focused, or you're a podcaster and you're focused on audio or maybe into music. A PC gives you that much variations compared to just getting a console to where you're just locked into to just a gaming platform. And I think you're right, Fred. The pricing in 2028 is going to be ugly. It's not going to be pretty. The pricing when it comes to the you can imagine the 6080. What do you think NVIDIA's main selling point? I hate to say it. I think we all know. Everyone, you know what? Some coconut water. Gotta drink some coconut water, especially here when it's this hot. So I got a great one for everybody. So in fact, I'm just going to repeat what Tony pretty much said. What do you think the NVIDIA main selling point of the 6000 series is? And let's see if anybody can guess exactly what I'm thinking here. I frame generation, that's part of it. That's definitely part of the what I'm thinking there. Take a guess, guys. I mean, honestly, it probably wouldn't really take too much thinking. Uh, just think about what they're doing now. It's pretty easy clue, I feel like. Yes, yes, that is going to be the selling point. That's exactly what I think. AI. That will be absolutely the selling point. Yes, the fanboys. Yeah, you can't game without Nvidia cards, all right? It's either Nvidia or nothing, and which is again absolutely ridiculous statement. Go AMD if you need to. It's a large improvement if you're playing on a 20 series card, 30 series card, and even a 40 series card, and you go over to a 9070 XT. It's much more impressive than you think. I would love to see better frame generation. Uh at this point, guys, like you can just pretty much you can pretty much put up an animation, your favorite type of animation. Just put it on your screen. It's a pit, even if it's a photo. Like in fact, like let's use something like One Piece for example. You have Zoro just say up on your screen, even though it's just your wallpaper. And thanks to Nvidia's frame generation, now you can actually play it because of the advancements of AI. Maybe that's going to be the selling point there. So no, it's Nvidia or Intel. Only if that were true. It's more, I'd say it's more Nvidia and AMD. AMD in the processor world, Nvidia in the GPU world. So it's the leather jacket, of course. No one can. They need to come out. They need to come out with a leather jacket edition. Just imagine they came out with like a leather version, like for the shroud, like a leather shroud. Just imagine that, a leather shroud for the GPU. For then you'll every time you look at your PC, you're reminded of Jensen Huang in his leather coat. Maybe that's what they could do for the Founders Edition coming up. Maybe they could go leather edition. Wake me up when we get to the 7070 Ti Super. Yeah, that's gonna be some time. Who knows? Like Nvidia seems to be really kind of slowing down when it comes to the whole gaming side. And it's been obvious, man. It's been like really painfully obvious. Uh, it's like they barely like when they get to the gaming side, it's like this. They talk about AI constantly, right? They talk about their AI world, and then as soon as they get into the whole side, they love to talk about the Omniverse. They love to talk about their AI accelerators. They love to talk about pretty much everything, their servers and what they're going to do with Rubin, and pretty much you get the point of that. And then as soon as they grace over gaming, they're like, yeah, gaming. Yeah, we got DLSS 5, and then they go to the next slide. They kind of ignore it. Almost like what happened with AMD's press conference when we saw that at CES. It was an hour and a half of sitting there and listening to them and just waiting for them because we were waiting for this dual V cache to come out already. We already had an indication that they were going to come out with the 9950 X3D2. And then uh, and the 99, in fact, and also the 9850 X3D. And the slide just never released. They just kind of pulled the same card that they originally did when they had the 9000 series. But like how Gigabyte does wood, NVIDIA, yes, yes, a leather piece. You cannot go without a leather PC. A song everyone should hear in 2525. Cheaper to buy cow. It probably is. Honestly, to be honest, Fred, it probably is. And that's just how that's just how expensive it is. Do we know if the 10,000 series will be on AM5? You know, Tony, I'm glad you actually brought that up because I do have to say I had a very interesting find. That not NVIDIA, AMD was like planning this whole 10,000 series. So our theories were not that far off, guys. We were not far off, and it was going to be a monster. And the things that, from what I've seen, was that they were supposed to have a high end. I mean, like high end, competing with even something like the RTX 5090. But again, you only can do so much with G6. It won't be truly a 5090 competitor then. But from what I've seen, that it was supposed to have 48 gigabytes of VRAM and based on a 512-bit bus. Just imagine that. That's an absolute monster. But with today's cost, you can imagine how expensive that would be. And how much cheaper would it truly be from something like the RTX 5090? So, but they did also thought of coming out with a different variant, which was supposed to be like a lower high end, which was going to be based off of 28 gigabytes of VRAM, just to kind of outdo the 4090. And this was like all kind of speculated, and somehow a little something came out of it, but they ended up pausing the project for obvious reasons. The cost of producing these wafers, especially when it comes to VRAM. So there, that goes out the window unless they surprise us with CS. But then again, that's I'll be pretty much on hopium, and I think everybody would be pretty much on hopium at that point if you're hoping to see a high-end AMD card. It would be it's you know I do got to say this about brands. They are certainly good at one thing, and you know what that is. They are certainly great at ignoring what we want. They do the opposite of what we actually want to see. We want to see a 10,000 series card from AMD and won't release. You want to see a new, you want to get more VRAM, they give you less. So tell me how that makes sense. So my predictions. Oh, so yo, Chris, what games do you play? Yes, I to answer that, I play mostly like Battlefield 6 a lot, and I've been trying for the longest to get to play Hell Let Loose. That just ended up getting released recently. And I do plan on doing more streams, more gaming streams. As I mentioned to everyone, if you see behind me, I got a test rig. I would love to show it, but you're gonna see that on another video. I can't show it on stream just quite yet because this is supposed to be a surprise. If Ricky over out there is lurking, then I don't want him to see it yet. I want him to have that. I want him to feel amazed once he turns on that PC. My predictions are that AM4. Yeah, apparently they pretty much said it. They said that they are gonna hold AM4. I'm thinking AM5. You really think they're gonna hold AM4 till 2030? I know they already said it with AM5 that they plan on holding it. But you know what's interesting, guys? If you got to see the video a little bit earlier, that I ended up pushing out, and for some reason people can't comment. But anyway, on that video, I pretty much mentioned Gigabyte also came back out with a B450. So can you imagine a B450 in 2026 based on a motherboard that came out in 2018. So talk about going backwards when it comes to tech. So Gigabyte is certainly released two boards, which is pretty insane. And I wouldn't be surprised if the next ones to do it would be something like, I feel like Asus for some reason are the last ones to do it because they're more of the type to definitely go into more high adaptability, and I could see them pushing more to pushing into the current generation instead of going backwards. But MSI might be another one that we see soon that would end up pushing out a AM4 version of their boards. No one can buy DDR5. That's why. I do agree to an extent. And the reason being is because you always have the options. If you do need DDR5, I stress on not just buying the RAM itself. It's better just to give in and just get the set. Reason being is if you get the set, you're going to end up spending much more cheaper compared to purchasing the actual RAM kit itself. I mean, I would much rather buy this kit for $750 instead of buying the RAM itself. The RAM itself's like almost about $500. If we take a look at it, we can click into the kit, this RAM kit, and it's $470. So why not just go with the kit? So especially if you're building a new PC, it makes sense. Just get the kit. It's much cheaper that way. It's $750, so you're really only spending. It's a $450 $450 RAM kit. So if you're really spending only an extra about $300 like for a motherboard and CPU, why not? So I'm pretty sure DDR4 got a bit cheaper as well. People will also think DDR6 will be cheaper. We'll see. I know, and that's the problem. The funny thing is, Samsung said last year at the end of 2025 that they were going to stop producing DDR5. And the reason was because it was phasing out. But ironically, during that same, and they said this back of July 2025, I think, or August of 2025. And then what's up, 650? Great to see you. And unfortunately, they kind of backtrace the words. It's almost like that press conference that happened about them wanting to end up producing more DDR4. So I do see that coming to an end sometime soon. I mean, the kits, like, take a look at the kit. Remember, you could get this $700 kit for with 32 gigabytes of RAM, right? If you look for a kit for DDR4, it's kind of limited. They only have 16 gigabyte kits. Let me see. Do they have any 32 gigabyte kits anymore? And it looks like they don't, and that's the problem here. They're trying to distribute these kits, but they only have very limited. They only have these four. They have the 5500, they have the 5600 X3D, but it's only 16 gigabytes. And honestly, it's not that far off. I mean, you look at the 5600 X3D, you get 16 gigabytes, right? And you get the RAM kit versus something like this where you can get the 7500 X3D for practically the same price. So the whole DDR4 cheaper isn't 100% true. It's true in a certain sense, but not if you're looking at kits. So pleasure to meet you, Chris. I have a question for someone who knows a lot more than I do about PCs. Can you help me? It's RAM related. More than happy to wait until you have finished your current discussion. Yeah, feel free. uh, yeah, they might have, because we could actually look up that actual press release when they did say that they were going to end up stop making DDR4. And they're pretty much like the main supplier when it comes to DDR4. When it comes to like Micron, they're obviously not producing at all for consumers, and so yeah, so is the other companies. You have Micron, Samsung, and SK Hynix. So you have those two definitely not producing, and Samsung is not really worried about us. They're more worried about the enterprise side. So once all Micro Center bundles go up in price, that's when we know where we're at. It has. I think it's raised since the beginning, probably about $100 up. or a little more, like a little bit more closer to, yeah, like $100 up at the minimum. Because this kit, originally, this $400 kit was originally $300. So the 5800 X3D with 32 gigabytes of DDR4 or 7500 X3D with 16 gigabytes. Yeah. Well, the thing is, look at this. Take a look at this. There is no 32 gigabyte kit. They have it. They have the 5600 X3D for 370, but but it's not $400. They don't have a $400 kit, unfortunately. So, hence, um, that brings up the argument invalid, because if you are comparing kits, you're comparing the board I would say is a bit better. You get a better board, but the memory is pretty much the same for the most part. It's not that far off. You're only spending $30 more to get DDR5 at that point. So the plot is to get everyone off their computers, make them rent them, so you're always dependent on them. And unfortunately, that's the case. I kind of followed the advice of what Hidden Bull is doing as well. Just leasing out, not really leasing. I would never lease my. I thought about it, but then it's not really worth it. I feel it's much better to just pretty much do some sort of payments for the PC instead. I feel like that's the best way to do it, especially because how expensive everything is now. So 7600 X3D, the 7600 X3D with 16 gigabytes of RAM over 5800 X3D and 32 gigabytes of RAM any day. So one stick of DDR5 is $246. So 400 bundle is not bad. Absolutely not bad at all. Well, I was gonna buy the 5800 X3D separately since I already have. See, that's different. That is completely different, and that's where everybody is getting it mixed up when it comes to pricing. I believe that most people think DDR4 is automatically cheaper, but honestly, it's not that much cheaper. In fact, I have DDR4. In fact, I'm streaming off of a DDR4 PC, but it's not cheaper. I can certainly tell you that. The pricing is not going to be that far apart. But if you already have DDR4 and you're looking to upgrade the PC, it makes sense. Of course, you're going to go with a motherboard. Why spend $400 or $500 for a RAM that you don't have to? So yes, I can agree on that side. So thanks so much. So my current issue is that I upgraded from DDR4 to DDR5. Okay, so new motherboard Ryzen 7 7800 X3D with 32 gigabytes of Corsair Vengeance RAM. Unfortunately, one of my RAM sticks has hit an issue. It's showing that a hardware malfunction or performing a memory test. I will unfortunately have to return it. This could take days. Am I okay to run? Yeah, absolutely. Yes, you can run with one stick. Don't worry about it. You can play games. You still can play games. It does not matter. Windows it's more or so when it comes to the allocation, when it comes to multitasking. So while playing it and watching a YouTube, you still can do it. Of course, just don't, because most of the power comes from the GPU anyway when you're gaming. And depends on the titles that you're gaming on as well. But you're going to be fine. Just all you have to do is kind of adjust the resolution. If you're on something like crazy, like you're on a 4K display, then kind of drop down the resolution a little bit. It will definitely save a bit on the RAM side. Yeah, of course, you can feel free to talk. They want to, yes, they do. They do want us. So apologies for the wall text. I really appreciate your, no, you're all good. The closest Micro Center is, geez, 3 states away. Well, Newegg's a great option for you guys. They do, they got Micro Center on Amazon as well, guys. So if you want to really get parts from Micro Center, you can get it from Amazon as well. It's pretty crazy. They actually have an Amazon store. Look it up. You'll be surprised. They do have an Amazon store, but unfortunately, they don't honor the same prices as they do for the actual store. And that's for obvious reasons because they gotta pay that Amazon tax if they are selling. Yeah, that's a damn shame. I really got I really want to push Amazon to go international, man. It makes sense. I think so many people visit them. Start with Canada and then spread out from there. So currently running two 1080p monitors. Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. Going to contact the website this morning. They should return it to Please let me know the results because there has been an issue I want to share with you guys. So if you guys have any type of RAM, doesn't matter, DDR4, DDR5. I have to bring up this issue. I want everyone to be aware of this. It's very important that you are, especially if you're within a warranty period. And the reason why I want to hear six Swifty's issue, and please join in on the Discord as well. Would love to get more information. For anyone that wants to, feel free to get interviewed on stream. Let me know. We can definitely talk. We'll talk on Discord about it. But this is what I want to show you guys. So down here, there has been a very interesting case I have to bring up. And the reason why this case was really interesting to me, and it seemed to definitely appeal to many other people out there as well, is that Crucial approved a customer's 128 gigabyte DDR5 RMA, took the RAM and even created the replacement order, but unexpected happened. So customers have failed Crucial's Pro 128 gigabytes of pretty much 264 gigabyte RAM sticks. So the RMA was already approved to July 1st, but then Crucial said the replacement would arrive within about 3 weeks. So on July 28th, Crucial created an actual replacement order, but unfortunately nothing was shipped. And then on the 17th, Crucial reportedly said they had no replacement inventory and instead offered them $260 for the original purchase order for the RAM kit. But of course, thank you for following, Six. But of course, $260, how much RAM is that honestly going to get you today? Tell me, guys. You guys know this answer. How much money can $260 get you in RAM? So anyway, Crucial is now checking whether that original kit can even be returned. So be wary and make sure to keep all records because this is definitely going to face a lot of backlash. So 650 said I paid 380 uh 380 for two 16 gigabytes. A lot of DDR3 sounds like I love the way how Ground the Game said that customer property theft. I mean that's a lack of it's pretty disrespectful at that point. Yes, you're out of business. I get it. Crucial doesn't work for the consumer market anymore. But talk about ethics, man. Talk about ethics when it comes to something like this. I mean, let's see. Just looking something up here out of curiosity, and I'll tell you exactly what that is. Okay, so this is how I think of things. Now, it's kind of a complicated case, right? Yes, he paid $270. Say if you personally sold this guy, like you sold him this kit for $270 and he returned it to you, but obviously you don't have any more RAM left. Would you offer to give him more money in that type of context? Sure, it makes sense as a private seller. Um, but now the market's obviously much more volatile. It's almost like a precious metals at this point. It's a commodity. So it's like at this point, do you truly honor the commodity of what it's worth? It practically is. It's honestly a true commodity. And the reason why you have to think about this is because think of it just like AI needs this memory. They could use this, right? So if they're willing to take it, and I bet they will be able to, of course, take it apart and obviously fix the issue because it's more than likely one of the DRAM that's failing. Then they should be able to, I feel, honor it. I feel that it's really messed up, especially that they can produce it. That's the big difference. Of course, private seller, yes. Yeah, I understand. There's a limit. But they can produce it. So if you can produce it, why deny the customer? So I believe in the UK we have the right to return within goods within 30 days. It makes sense. If it's faulty goods, of course, yes. I mean, absolutely I can agree with that. I can be on board with that. So when you think about it, if you return, say, a piece of jewelry, like a piece of gold, and you return it back to the jewelry store, and say for some reason it got volatile and the pricing went increased, and the store did not have a replacement for you, I'm pretty sure that they would offer you something in replace, something to replace it with, something of equal value of what it's worth, versus then something then just giving you some cash back. It would make the most sense. At that point, you would have to trade it. So I feel what makes the most sense in this case for Crucial is definitely to be able to step in and be willing to just be able to give them memory back. Just give them the 128 gigabytes in. As certainly that would make the most sense. So um that be aware of that. If your memory is starting to go bad, make sure to keep all records, of course, keep receipts, and thankfully for most things that we purchase, have some sort of record within online, so you're able to access it in that sense. So, Pixel King, I'm just seeing that. I wish Nvidia would bring back SLI. I think they will eventually. I think they will. I mean, look at what they did with DLSS 5. It's needed. So, how much do you think I should sell my motherboard, CPU, and RAM bundle? I have Ryzen 5 5500, 3660. Okay. How much do you have exactly though? How much memory do you have? I get you have the 3600 megahertz kit practically in a B550. Um, is it 16 gigabytes or is it 32 gigabytes? Is it 128 gigabytes faulty RAM still worth it? Yeah, obviously. It definitely is. All they got to do is replace the DRAM. What's up, and what's up, A Dune CPA? The minute they accepted the memory, they should have replaced it, even if it was just for PR. Absolutely. Of course, it's gonna get. Of course, they're gonna get slapped in the face. 32. Okay, so you have 32. I'm assuming gigabytes. You mean so? Um, so for 32 gigabytes, uh, okay, so you see right here what it costs new. You're seeing it right now. This is what it costs new for this kit. About $250. So if you have an extra 16 gigabytes, I would say then you can probably sell it, and it's used probably about like probably the same amount. I would say like probably 250. I would say like probably 250 with the extra RAM. If it's anything less, definitely, unfortunately, less than that. But you can sell that whole everything that you have for about 250. I think that would be the most fair price. Because the reason being I say that is because think of it like this: if another person has access, or you have access to a Micro Center or Newegg or any of these other companies, they will look at it and be like, someone that is looking to purchase it will look at this kit and compare your kit, and because you have that 32 gigabytes, it would be worth going with about like 250. So, but if it's anything more, then they're just gonna want to get it brand new. They're gonna say, "Why buy it used?" But yeah, that's what I would recommend. More than likely, like 250. I feel that would be the best bet. So I do find it interesting in that case. I do feel like AM4 is definitely going to last a bit longer, and more than likely, you're probably going to see a lot more memory being passed down. Um, that's on sale. So, like, if we go into Craigslist, because that's the easiest accessible website, because I don't have Facebook, or and OfferUp's a more mobile app, so we can't go in there. It's funny. I never go on Craigslist, but for example wise, I can go on it. DDR4. So I'm getting around 400 from my friend. Should I just save up to an extra 100 to just get this 7800 X3D bundle? If you can, absolutely. That's a much better buy. 7800 XTD would be so worth it. So I would say just save it. Definitely save it. So here we go. We got some 64 gigabyte DDR5. See how much these sellers are selling it for. They just put it up and they're selling it for $360. So that's a lot. So it's almost like, again, I know it's I get it, non ECC makes sense. I love seeing I love seeing AI being used now. Don't you? Now they put AI ads. Save up for the extra, you'll be absolutely. I'm going to Columbus, Ohio, the Micro Center. They have grand opening. I did see that. Let me know what you think of it, by the way. Absolutely. On a new grand, yes. They will absolutely have some new deals. And you might even get one of those cool Micro Center cups. They'll have a nice Micro Center mug. Because usually they'll have those like once they do something big and grand like that. So gotta drink some coconut water. Yeah, not that much DDR4. It's almost like non-existent. Or it could just be Craigslist. Yeah, probably Craigslist. I mean, no one uses this thing. Makes sense. Also, the Micro Center is pulling out the big guns, and they have Jade's Z2 cents there. Oh, really? Oh, wow. In Ohio. I was hoping you would be there also. Unfortunately, no. I'm not going to be over at that location. Um, I have a really bad bottleneck because my brother passed down his 5070 to me since he moved to a 5090. Oh, really? Yes, and that's definitely going to be felt. Uh, you have to adjust your settings. So I'm trying to move to AM5. It's so worth it. If you go to AM5, it's definitely worth it. You're definitely going to have much less of a bottleneck. The reason you're facing it is because a lot of the newer engines, such as Unreal Engine 5, they're pretty much on I think 5.7. Unreal Engine 5.7, it can drain your CPU. I mean, you'll even in places where you wouldn't expect, like or even in certain games you wouldn't think of, it will end up draining out it will actually end up using some of your CPU. um because games are getting a bit more technical in this aspect. I'm hoping that this is one thing I'm also hoping is that developers will put a lot more focus into that, improving that aspect when it comes to the gaming side. um but I can say, if you do this, if you go AM5, you're definitely going to face much less bottleneck. Do you have a GPU in mind that you're thinking of putting in? Or, well, you have the 5070, you said, right? So the 5070 would actually blend in well, especially that it's based on PCI Express 5 as well. But again, the speeds don't truly matter. But in testing, they say it affects it like kind of like 5%. So I think you would appreciate it in that sense. So, now let's get back to this. Let's get back to Micro Center. Um, so if you're, I'm currently running a 4060 with my DDR5 rig next to get upgraded further down the line. Oh, nice, nice. Hey, the 4060 is still a decent card. I kind of I love me too. I agree. I love the RE engine as well. You know, the funny thing is, to answer 650 real quick too, the 4060 is actually really decent. I always looked at the true actually last like kind of like third was the 3060. And then from there it kind of regressed and it went to 4050. Like the 4060 is really a 4050 and the 5060 is more like a 5040. Um but the 4060 is a decent card for what they offer. But I do agree, I do like the RE engine. And for the longest time I always thought that stood for the Resident Evil engine. But it actually isn't. It doesn't mean Resident Evil engine. It means something else. I forget what it's called even again. But I do love that engine. It's a great engine. They use it on Monster Hunter's Wilds. And they also, of course, use it on Resident Evil. It's a Capcom's engine. It's stable. The recent Gears E-Day beta was only pulling about 90 FPS with a DDR5 rig before the RAM failed. Oh, that's frustrating. That's a bit frustrating. Of course, you're trying to enjoy your gameplay, and of course that happens. Has I gotta ask anybody play Battlefield here, or has gotten a chance to play the new Battlefield 6 map? Because I'm curious what you guys think of it. I would love to play it, of course, but I would love to hear your input on Battlefield 6 on the new map, the whole Top Gun theme, and they had that new island. What's it called? Not Sura Reef, but they came out with the new island yesterday as well. If you guys played it, let me know. Let me know what your thoughts are about it because I do look forward to it. So if I move to the 7800 X3D, do you think that I can stay with? Oh, absolutely. Because the 7800 X3D does not run super hot. Well, let me rephrase that. 7800. I'm thinking 7600 X3D because that 7600 X3D runs at 65 on its CDP. Now when it comes to the 7800 X3D, it's a little bit higher, but not much. It's only at 120. 240 should be sufficient enough. If you have the extra money, if you're willing to spend for a 360, of course, I would recommend a bigger cooler. It's better to keep your CPU cool as possible. If not, if you can't really stretch the money as much, 240 can be decent enough. Um, and also, I do have to ask, how old is the cooler about? Because I feel like that does matter too. Because reason why I say that because over time, remember AIOs do evaporate over time, so it could get less and less cool. I'd say if it's over 3 or 4 years, you might as well just swap it out if you want less headache in the future, because you don't want a random day where it ends up overheating. So I have 240 millimeters on idle, and I'm currently getting about 28 to 30 degrees during gameplay. And its editing is around 50 to 60. That's actually really good. That's excellent. Oh, wow. Excuse me, guys. uh, just some people being funny. But anyway, um, yes, 240 millimeter can be absolutely good enough. In fact, you can buy new even, but it's around okay. So if it's 7 to 8 months old, you're okay. 7 to 8 months old, you're good. You're golden. Of course, if you need a better cooler, you can always upgrade it then. But 240, you can certainly get away with it. Especially because it again, it's not a crazy hot CPU. Now, if you're like on a more higher end type where it has more cores, then of course you worry. But remember, you're based on 8 cores and 16 threads. That's not going to be like crazy when it comes to the heat side. Not nearly as much. Um, I feel like the 7800 XTD is probably like the last blessing I would give the 240. But if you weren't to go to the 9000 series and you compare it to like the 9800 XTD, for some reason the 9800 XTD, I feel a little bit less stable with that. And then I would say like 360 I would require on something like that. Even though you could get away with 240, but just with the issues that you hear, then I would suggest like get a bigger cooler just in case. Sure, it might not help it like it's just one preventative that you want to make sure. You want to keep your CPU cool as possible, and of course, decent thermal paste. Um, don't, of course, don't use the thermal paste that's already on the cold plate, because then that stuff's no good. You make sure to reapply new thermal paste. Probably. Oh no, I do apologize, but I'm glad that you managed to be able to get in. Oh, that's pretty funny actually, but not. Hopefully, you get your new RAM stick back. I do. Definitely wish you the best, and please let us know. I'd love to know what happens in your case because I feel that is important. Yes, yes. Hopefully, it does. Yes, please do. Please do. And for anybody that's just coming in and curious about my streams, exactly when I stream, my schedule is always around 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesdays. And also when it comes onto the weekends, I do Saturdays and I do 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern. And I will do when I get the chance, I always do some sort of random streams on only on Twitch. So of course everybody knows if I am gaming, just make sure to hop onto the Twitch side for obvious reasons when it comes to YouTube. Yeah, and I'm pretty disappointed to hear that some people were trying to comment and trying to respond to my video, but it's been really weird. So I'm going to definitely double look at that and see the reason why YouTube was a bit weird. But yeah, we would definitely appreciate the update. It would certainly help out others who are going through the same situation. Um, and it just sucks. Like if you have hardware that's going bad, especially in today's standards, especially when it comes to pricing, it's just terrible. Um, just be really careful. Of course, make sure if you do get anybody that gets new RAM kits, even when you get your refund, like even if you get that kit back, just make sure to test it. Make sure to stress test that RAM kit, so that way you can guarantee that it's well. If you just build a PC, sure, it might be working great, but also bench it. Make sure you bench it well. Give it a loop test. Make sure it's well. So I understand with time for sure. That's what's upsetting. It was purchased a week ago. No one's at fault. Seems to be a dodgy. Thank you, Charizard. So the M8TX case that I would certainly recommend on something like for a fish tank case. I've really, believe it or not, I've really like Corsair cases when it comes to this. I feel that the Corsair, is it the 5500X is a decent case, not super expensive if you're looking for a fish tank case. Um, and I'll actually show it to you. Let's see. They might have one in stock. They might not have it anymore because I know they kind of upped the design. Maybe the 50, maybe that the 3500X. Because that's not that bad in pricing as well. And that's a fish tank type of style case. And the actually is oh, this has a AIO pre-installed. That's interesting. That's different. Usually it doesn't come with the AIO, but if you don't, it's usually on the cheaper end. You can end up getting it for like $120. It does come in black as well. You don't have to obviously get it from just Micro Center. In fact, let's look on Amazon and see if we can find it. The 5500X is kind of a better design, I feel, in my opinion, when it comes to Corsair. I don't see it anymore. They have the 4500. Okay, so I would say, if anything, go 3500X if you're looking for like a fish tank design. Maybe they kind of moved on from it. They kind of went to the curved glass and give it more of a cleaner look. I feel like this is a really nice case in order to do it. This one specifically the 4500X. But again, if you like the little curve that make it give it more of a modern look, that's one. Or the 3500X. And what's another one? I feel those are really decent fish tank cases. Fantex had a case, the XTV, yeah. I feel like they're delisting a lot of the fish tank cases now. Like I feel like that they're changing the whole design. They're more focused on this. Like if you ever notice, like the curved glass now. I do like the curved glass look better. It makes it look a bit cleaner. It doesn't look as rigid. Um, but yeah, I think we're gonna see a lot more of this more often. A cool budget build at 5500 X3D and a 5500 and a B5. Absolutely, it would be definitely a fun build. Um, Absolutely. We always joke about it, in fact, because we always talk about Project Wood, and Project Wood is pretty much like based on kind of like Gigabyte's design, which is pretty dope. The Gigabyte, I'm sure if you guys seen it or not, but the Era Wood motherboards, and they look a little bit like this. I say it looks like a wooden front panel, absolutely. You take a look at this too. Yeah, fun Tetris build. Take a look at that. X3D build. You have that matching with, like, say, the Lean Lee, because Lean Lee actually has it. Lean Lee actually has some nice casings. If we looked at Lean Lee wood case, here you go. They have this one, the M8TX, and they got the 217 INF. Does anybody actually want to see a wood build? Out of curiosity, guys. I do have an interesting build coming up, though. Again, I know I keep talking about it, but I'm really excited to show you guys. Sometimes I feel like, even though I always talk about PCs and PC hardware, sometimes there's some things I'm like, I kind of always looked at some things and I'm like, yeah, I feel it's okay. And then when you actually put it together, you're like, man, it's actually much more impressive. I give it much more props. But that's how it kind of went with with that build. I was really impressed with it. And this next build coming up, I think you guys would certainly appreciate it too. And then they got the fractal design. They're also big on this too. Like when it comes to the wood paneling side. Um it's not bad. Not a bad look. The fractal, yeah, the fractal design case. Yeah. Oh, really? This is your exact case? That's funny. It's a nice case. I really appreciate fractal design when it comes to their cases. Um I think, honestly, I think within this upcoming year, I think we're gonna see so much changing. I think we're gonna see a lot of changes, especially like from fractal when it comes to cases. I feel that they're definitely gonna come out with like more of the curved glass as well. It matches my desk color quite, so I thought, why not? Makes sense. I don't know why I'm leaning toward the three side. Yeah, I get it. I get it. Are you looking at Ernesto, are you looking at the Corsair 5400, something like that, the three-sided curved glass, or are you looking at the let me see. This is one that I've been thinking about often too with something like this. This is not three-sided. This one's just one-sided. Which case are you thinking, Ernesto? Just out of curiosity here. Because this one I thought about doing too, because this is triple chambered. So meaning that you can cool 3 different locations here. The GPU, and you can control, you can have the airflow go well with the CPU cooler, and the same when it comes to the PSU. So I feel like it's very interesting design. The 50, yeah. It is a really nice design. I mean, I thought about this too. The triple chamber here. It is sick. So out of curiosity, guys, like if you had a choice, um, how do you guys feel about cases just like this? Like how they have it triple chambered? Oh, absolutely. Isn't it amazing? Like, I think it's an amazing case too. Um, and then of course there's even more budget ones like Game Diaz, which we got sent last month. They actually have the M5 Atlas case, which is a nice case too. And it's pretty much a curved design. This one's an older one, the M4. Let me see the M5. I've never seen in person. You say they are much bigger. I feel size would be the only thing holding it back. Oh, you mean if you compared it to a mid tower, they're just like much more wider, I would say. This is actually the old case too. I'm surprised they're not showing the newer cases. In the newer case, oh, here it is. The newer case is more styled like this. This is actually a really decent case you can get, like for a decent deal. As they only have it for, I'd say, this is the CG for 85 bucks. That's not too bad of a deal. Really easy to take off. There's only like, I think three or four screws on the top, and you can pull them off. So if you compare it to the mid tower, it's just a more wider than the typical mid tower. I would say just a bit more wider. That's about it. Just because you get the extra chamber there to breathe. The Antec C8 wood. Let's take a look at that. There is news I do want to share with you guys, and I want to hear what you guys think. I think it's pretty exciting, which I'm going to show right after this. After I get the 7800 XTD bundle, I have the Crucial MX 500 1TB internal SATA. Not necessarily. You can save a little money on that. I gotta say, NVIDIA is really expensive right now. Like when it comes to M.2 drives, they are expensive. So if you can find it for a decent deal, go for it. If you can't, then I would say just stick with what you have. I'm using the M-ATX case now, but the next will be 8. Oh, nice, nice. Yeah, you could use it. The ATX cases. The 011D is actually a great case. I agree. Yeah, I know their fans can be pretty expensive. Uh, what is a decent deal? Okay, so if you're looking for a decent deal, specifically on a case, Fantex is always good. Actually, somebody actually brought that up earlier. Fantex is always good. Oh, Fantech has always great deals. Like when they come, I mean, take a look. The MV9 is an awesome. Oh, actually, this is the perfect one of the perfect fish tank cases. $70 for something like this, and it comes with the modules. That's not bad. That's actually a really good price, I feel. Of course, this is definitely great if you don't want to spend extra money on fans. Of course, you can add additional fans, so fan text is actually not that bad. Same when it comes to, they have the Matrix one, which is the all white one, and they even have this little, not bad, right, for $85. But of course, it's a white case. They do have the black version, but it looks like they don't have any in stock on this end, at least. So I feel like Fantex is decent. Like when it comes to cases, right? Not too bad. And even their fans are not that expensive either. So actually, what I want to bring up to you guys is I want to know what you guys think of Steam Frame, because I do want to show this thanks to Steam hardware updates. They did bring this up, and they actually came out with this. So feel free, let me know what you guys think of it. They actually came out with a pretty much like the unboxing of it. And would it be something that you guys would be interested in? Just out of curiosity, I just would love to hear you guys' reaction based on it. But it seems like it might be coming out sooner. I know this is something that some have been waiting for with something like the Steam Frame. So I think I'm really curious to see where they price it at. So for something like this, I'm curious if they're going to end up pricing it for like something like maybe, would it really be over $1,000 for a device such as this? Or would it just, I'm really curious to see where they price it. Managed to get my used Ryzen 7 7800 XTD RTX 4080. That's not that bad. Oh, I apologize. Yeah, I accidentally muted myself. Uh, I had to refresh, make sure I didn't mute by accident. Yeah, thank you for reminding me. Yeah, but hopefully you guys got to check that out. I think $1,000 is a sweet spot. Yeah, so for the stream, for the Steam frame, I feel like I'm really curious to see how they're going to end up pricing it out. It's that there's no price, there's no release date just quite yet. But we're going to find out sometime soon. Like I hope sometime maybe September or even next week. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think they would really put it next week? But I saw this deal. Can't believe it's for this is actually a really awesome deal for anybody that's thinking of going 4K. Not 4K, I'm sorry. OLED. OLED 2K monitor. I think this is a great deal for anybody out there. I once complained to the streamer his sound had echo. He spent he turned it on. He turned out in the end that he had. Oh yeah, that's typically what happens. If there's some sort of echo, it's and you're streaming, it's typically because you have one of the browsers open, with your voice enabled or desktop enabled. I think 750 is the sweet spot. Yeah, I wonder how popular it's going to be too. I wonder how many people are going to go for the Steam frame is my question. Is anybody here? I'll throw up a poll for you guys. So is anybody here actually interested in getting something like the Steam frame? Are you on the fence on getting the stream? Are you interested? Are you interested in the Steam frame? So I would love to purchase a LG 39G. That's a really nice monitor. You and me both. I like that monitor. But I hear Dell has it. They do. In fact, they have an Alienware version of it. Like if you look it up, they do have an Alienware version of the 5K 2K monitor. But the pricing is not that much different though, unfortunately. If Dell comes out with theirs, I wonder how much they're going to charge for their version. As you know, it's quite up there in pricing. Micro Center tried making a steam machine and really? I had no idea that they actually attempted to do it. You mean like same size and same specifications and everything? Or not specifications, but same size, like 6 inches, 6 by 6? Okay, I heard it discussed to be approximately 1,100, but that can change. Ugh. That's a bit of a sketchy pricing. If it's around that, I wonder if how many people would actually go for it. Like how many people you think would go for Steam Frame still? And so far the majority said no. It seems that most people are not interested in Steam Frame even without knowing the price. So I feel like I'm really curious to see how many people are willing to try it. I wonder how it's going to be. I know most people don't want to get something like the Steam frame as it's improved compared to the Valve Index because you can use it as standalone. Oh, okay. The LG is currently 18. Yes. Alienware's is about close to that price too as well. They even 3D print a case to be the same size. That's like the one. Dude, I saw some guy body actually do it too, and they printed the case and they actually built the PC. But of course, I'm not sure exactly how much they spent on it. I did do like a Steam machine type of build, of course, but it was meant to be more beginner friendly for those who wanted to get something like the Steam machine. And we built it even with a Noctua AIO and everything, more to be focused on silence. Decent PC too, decent PC. How well has AMD supported VR headsets in the past? Ah, it's not really too much of a track record of that. I mean, because it just isn't as prevalent as most people would think, like when it comes to VR. I'd be happier with a rotisserie chicken from Costco than Can you imagine that they have rotisserie chicken? That is funny. So, some don't realize 1050 is cheap right now. It's true. 1050 can be cheap, but of course, everyone has their limits. Sometimes they feel it's as you see, like even when it comes to even when it comes to cost, when it comes to um certain items, it's just people are refusing to buy as much when it comes to graphics cards. I mean, look at the RTX Pro 5000. That's a older uh 8500. That's crazy. Compared to the RTX 6000 where it's like pushing right here 15,299. They made it make it seem like it's discounted from 16. That's insane. Looking forward to Steam Ham. My limit is 0. I think a lot of people can certainly relate, especially today. But I'm just clicking this because I'm really curious to see if this is the and it isn't. I thought this was going to be the Q Max, because they have a Q Max variant, and this one's $15,300. It's insane. Uh, and I think this is what scares people when it comes to pricing. They see things like this and are like, "Wow, how am I going to afford something like this?" For that price, you could get RAM or a 5070. Amazon has a used LG for 1500, which is tax free in Florida. Yes, that is true. That is true. Yes. Like that's a wonderful thing. So if you are in Florida, take advantage of it. Take advantage of the tax-free offers as you can. We only got one more day until the whole tax-free break ends. 20th is the last day for it. So take advantage of it. Let me see. Let's scroll down here. Now, I'm curious what they have on monitors. Actually, let me go back and see if they even have that monitor, the LG 5K, 2K. Oh, not 1K. Let me just put 5K instead. I don't want to confuse Micro Center's search engine as it is. So they have yep, it's pretty much the same. 1800. Yeah, 1800 for this monitor. For this display. Let me go down here. Or storage. You know what? Let's take a look at storage. I'm curious. Okay, so they got 2 terabytes, which isn't too bad, which is about $300, which is clever. And you got the 992 terabyte, which is $390. You do have the 8 terabyte V NAND TLC. Still really expensive, $2,719. Let's see what the most popular. Oh, so this is the most popular list here. With the LG, my Excel spreadsheets would look really. Absolutely. You know how amazing it would look? Imagine you are Valve and you need to ship 15 Steam machines a week. I know, they sell out quick. You know, they still have a lot of wait lists there. Like, there's still people with a lot of wait lists, like, just trying to be able to get the Steam machine. Let's see. I am really curious. Okay, so compared to Amazon here, let's look up a 1 terabyte M.2 drive. See what we can find. There goes Crucial. You know, actually, ironically, Crucial actually makes like one of the better drives when it comes to NVMe's, believe it or not. So this is actually not even that bad. Even the controller is sold out. Yeah, it is. Until next year. Even the controller sold out till next year, which is insane. If you need a M.2 drive, this is actually a decent drive, but still pretty pricey. It's so weird to see 1 terabyte to be so expensive like that. And then you also have the SN7100. They're just getting rid of old stock, and of course, and this Optimus is more of their newer side, and 1 terabyte. That's pretty wild. Always wondered what the most popular meant. It meant most sold or best margins. I think it's what's popular within that week. I don't think it's like really margins per se. I feel like it's more so what was sold within this say this week, it'll end up popping up. So that's like more of the most popular. The more storage you buy, the more you save. That's yes. Absolutely. The more storage you buy, you would absolutely save. And the best thing you can do also is make sure to download free. Of course, Tinfoil knows this. The best way to save yourself some RAM is definitely download more RAM. Let's download some RAM because I feel like I'm running a bit slower. So you can easily download 1 terabyte. It's completely free on the cloud here. I think it's cool you can wake up your Steam machine with the oh yeah, I mean if you use the Steam OS, and I'm sure Tinfoil can tell you this, especially if he runs it also in the same way as well. You can actually boot up straight into the Steam OS with no problem in pretty much like picture mode, as you could call it. As long as if you have Steam OS installed, it will automatically open up into Steam OS. Um, but yeah, you can pretty much do it on any build if you're willing to put that type of Steam OS on it, or even Arch Linux, or pretty much any Linux really can do it. Only do they only work with AMD? Um, which one? Download download more RAM works with any PC. I'm just kidding. Do they only work? Yes. Currently, as of now, like when it comes to, it's more compatible if you have a AMD, pretty much AMD processor, AMD GPU. Definitely much more compatible in that sense, for sure. So, let's go back here. Let's go back. And also, if you guys are curious, it is AI powered there. um, let's go over to Micro Center here. And so I gotta say, like when it comes to if you are looking again GPU, please just go after AMD. Save yourself a little bit more money. I mean, you could get away with something like this if you want the RTX 5070 that has 12 gigabytes, but again, the recommended VRAM I usually go for is 16 gigabytes. NVIDIA's is about 15% behind Windows versus Linux. Yeah, true. I bought a 20 terabyte NAS standard hard drive today. Was shocked at 670. Yeah, it's insane. That's what I actually have. I have, is it 20? I think I got 20 terabytes as well. But specifically, I have this for, I have it hooked up as a NAS system pretty much through the router. So as long as if you have a router, an external drive, and your router doesn't allow it, you can actually create a network in that sense. If you want a true NAS system, of course, it's even better. It's much more quicker. Um, but yeah, it's definitely worth it, especially if you have a lot of storage that you need to end up saving. Great for anybody that's like into, of course, doing videos, or you have a lot of backup information, um, or just have a catalog of media that you need to save. It's a great option to do. Hoping we hear something. More than likely, well, if we hear about Zen 6, it's going to be probably closer into the November December mark. You'll see a lot more rumors pop out then. Even with Intel, I'm surprised we didn't get to talk about Intel more, but Intel's or like Intel's Nova Lake is supposed to be rumored to have like some great specifications. You're talking about 28 cores, um, something Sounding dumb, but what is Steam Frame? Oh, to answer that real quick, Steam Frame is pretty much a VR headset. So if you're curious what Steam Frame is, it's a VR headset that you can use to game on. But yeah, that's you're probably getting off that poll. It seems that not as many people are interested in seeing the Steam Frame, but I'll actually take that off. But yeah, going back to not Arrow Lake. I keep saying Arrow Lake. Going back to Nova Lake, it's a great processor that's supposed to come out that's really competitive. They even quote unquote said that it's going to be truly competitive against AMD. I would love to see the power of it. You're talking 28 cores, 20 and 20. Doesn't really have any extra threads. It's based on all physical cores, which is a good thing. It's going to be quite powerful based on to AV. What's it called? Let me actually pull it up. So that way I can share more of the specifications with you guys. And Seasonic did something amazing. I forgot completely about the whole. They actually released a Ruby power supply, so you can imagine that's going to be quite expensive. Just imagine you could get Ruby requires a 95% efficiency at 50% load. Insane. Right here. So if you guys got the miss the video a little bit, I feel that it's definitely going to be quite amazing. 24 core, 24 threads, 28 cores, 28 threads. Of course, the speeds, the clock speeds, 3.5. I mean not 3.5, 3.4 and 3.2. And of course, it features AVX512, which is nice. And it will be based on 8 performance cores and 16 E-cores. And some people usually have a problem with this because they see more E-cores. That's not always a bad thing. That actually ends up making the processor a bit quicker because of that. So some people would automatically assume if too bad the news Atari Dart's already coming down hard at Intel. Intel claims that they want to extend the life of this socket. But again, we're going to see that through time. We will see. We will see if it extends. If they choose to keep it for the 10 years, because that's what they're trying to promote. That they are going to be just as competitive as AMD when it comes to socket life, when it comes to the motherboards. But again, we will see through time. Currently reporting points that 28 core version will arrive in 2027. So I feel like it's going to actually be very competitive in a sense when it comes to AMD and Intel. And will they release around the same time? Because AMD, if they do release processors, it's typically around March. That's when you typically see them drop something. So if we see Zen 6, maybe we'll see it then even. If we don't, we could see it later into the year of next year. But it seems like they're kind of delaying everything because, of course, the hardware space is expensive as it is. But yeah, that's pretty much the gist of what this processor does feature. This is actually going to be. I just want Intel to be truly competitive again because mainly because of the pricing. I feel like it's definitely going to be. We need competitiveness when it comes to PC hardware. That's how we get cheaper PC hardware. Without any competitiveness. And if everyone keeps buying AMD or NVIDIA, that's why it's so expensive. No one's going to go to Micro Center. Not the typical person, at least. Is not going to go and say, like, hey, let's go to Micro Center because I want to go for the best GPU ever. And the best GPU ever with 32 gigabytes, of course. No regular person is going to go after and spend about $4,400 on a GPU. I think so too. I feel like Intel's going to come back. I'm trying to really get people to give them a chance. I don't know what the deal is. It's like I'm not saying people are wrong. I get the idea. We've been with AMD for quite a while, but if it's not a bad thing to experience other brands. You don't want to get you don't want to have brand loyalty. I hate to say it. You don't want to have brand loyalty. Sure. Brand loyalty is where people end up getting jammed up. I mean, look at Sony and the physical disc and what happened with them. Look at the games that happened to the PS3 store. Like all those games that they've purchased, like including me, I have games in the PS3 store. Sure, I don't play them anymore because I don't have a PS3. But now it truly sucks to know that I won't be able to play them at all in the next year. And that kind of proves the point that don't be loyalist to a brand, because the brand, I have to say it once again, sure, they will reward you. They'll say, "Oh, congratulations for being part of the brand or purchasing our products for so many years." Um, you want to go with something that actually performs well. You want to get something that is good for today, good for 2026 to say. That is important. So yep, it gets us where we are now, even with NVIDIA. Absolutely. And that's certainly what I want everybody to know. Like even if you go against the grain, you go ahead and say, you know what, I'm gonna get AMD this time. I'm gonna get an AMD GPU because I just don't want to spend the extra money in video once. And then once you actually experience it and you see how well an AMD GPU does perform, uh, then you will realize, like, what was I really thinking all these years? So I'll believe it when it comes to the next core ultra products lines. Dollars to donuts that LGA 1954 won't last past 2030. Ooh. True. I started with the SUS since the reverse capacitor motherboard manual. Yeah, it's funny. That's what happened to me on the Z690. That's funny that you actually bring that up. That's somebody actually brought that up. They stuck with the SUS, never had issues with them, and I told them I never had issues with the SUS either. It's just, of course, I ran into one issue with them with the Z690. If you run into an issue, make sure that it gets dealt with properly, because of course that was hell too when I fought through that situation. That was a mess, but I'm glad it got dealt with properly. Thank you, Glenn, for subscribing to the channel. So, fan guys, I certainly do appreciate everybody's time to join in on the stream. Hopefully, you found it insightful. Hopefully, you found it entertaining as always. I'm excited to do more of these upcoming builds. Hopefully, you get to check in. And man, it's been busy. I've been exhausted. I've been trying to get back on everyone in Discord. If you feel ignored, I do apologize. I am a bit I am one person. I am a bit limited. But I tried to get back, of course, to everyone I can. So so they know that they can get 90% or more. So right off the bat, why not try? Yeah, exactly. Switch AMD for the first time in my life this year. Very happy I did. But when I get Nova Lake, I will get Nova Lake when it comes out. I'll let it'll redeem itself after the yeah. I get it. So thank you, Z-Man. Of course, thank you, Nellis. I gotta thank Charizard. I gotta thank our wonderful tinfoil ground game. I gotta thank Simplicity for coming in to say hi. A-Dun. I gotta thank Z-Man, Ernesto, Steve, Havy. And of course, I gotta also thank I gotta thank Hidden Bull. He was here too a bit earlier. 650 for joining in on us. And of course, Tony. So, Fanbam guys, I thank you all for coming into the wonderful stream. Thank you, Shrimp, as well. Hopefully, you guys found it insightful, and hopefully, we get to in concrete. Yes. Uh, thank you for joining in, and hopefully, I catch you guys on Saturday's stream. Of course, feel free to always ask questions onto Discord. And I will see. I'll see. Try to see what's going on with YouTube here. Hopefully, I can fix this issue. But thank you as joining in, Fan Bam, as always, and hopefully to catch you guys on Saturday.